Hello everyone and welcome to the new Coach Dev Academy Lab Guide. I'm Corentin Guinez, driver for Simmercy, and today we are around Imola for the week 9 of the MX-5 Open Series. So as usual at first, I'm gonna go with the outlap and then I will give you the details you have to know before racing this week. So yep, let's get started. Alright everyone, so here we go for the lap around Imola. So we just got by the start finish line earlier and then we are already heading into the first corner. So as a reference, usually I would use with faster cars the exit road on the right side, but this time you can use the 100 on the right. So basically this is pretty much after getting by this sort of kink, as you can see. Then you have a sort of straight braking, but before that you have this kink, so which is just between just after the exit road. So when you get by this kink, then as you will see, I will just put the steering straight, and then when I'm going to reach the 100 on the right side, actually I think I'm braking a few meters before. So when I'm arriving at that point, I will just go on the brake. And as you will see, I'm not going to brake so hard, like I'm not going to go deep on the brakes. Ideally, I want to make sure I can keep the car a bit light, so then it's easier to get the rotation on the way in, because if I just go flat on the brakes, the front is just going to understeer and I'm going to miss a lot of exit speed. So as you can see on Delta, I'm going to brake around 75% peak, and then I'm going to slowly release the brakes until I'm just lifting completely the brakes, and then I'm just going to go on power. But you have like maybe half a second where I'm not touching either the brakes or the throttle, and that point gives me that gap gives me um an extra rotation. So yeah, but in the other end I cannot just stay for too long without inputs, because like I said, you need to get a good momentum on the way out. So it's both important to at first not brake too late for that one, because you can carry a lot of speed on the way in, but then you compromise a lot the speed on the way out. And yeah, at the same time you need to make sure you can get early on throttle. So that's why you don't want to arrive too fast into the corner. So then you can have a really good momentum through the I guess it's Tamburello, this first chicane. So that's how it works. Just around the 100, going on the brake around 75%, and then as soon as I'm going to get close of the corner, I'm just going to release the brake. As you can see, I drop to second, and then just releasing the brakes to get some more rotation, and then just before climbing on the curb on the right side, as you can see just right here, I'm just going on power. Then of course, as you can imagine, I'm not just going straight away on power, because otherwise I will pick up some um, understeer early on. So I'm just waiting a little bit, and then once I'm out of the first left, then I can just press the throttle fully, and then from there, as you can see, I'm not lifting. Another thing which is important about this first chicane, that's why I'm taking a bit long around that. I'm not taking that much curbing, even if you see that I'm using a bit. What I mean about not using much curbing is that I'm not really trying to cut through the curbs. You are losing time by doing that, actually. As you can see, I'm just taking the very edge. But if you are really using more than that, and I think I can show you maybe the first laps I did. Um, Maybe that's not the best examples, but yeah, maybe a lap like this, I guess, which is not massively good. No, I think I was already okay. So maybe it's one of the first laps, maybe a lap like this. Yeah, so this is the perfect example of how not to do it, which is great to see as well. As you can see, I'm braking too late. I'm carrying way too much speed on the way in, so I'm too far away from the curb on the inside. And this is what you don't want to do. It's like cutting massively the curb. I don't think I got a slowdown that lap, and same for that one. Basically, that's everything you don't want to do. It's arriving too fast, so you are having a big angle going into the first apex. So first I'm missing the curb, I'm a bit too wide, and you can see how much it delays my full throttle application. And then I need to cut the curb, because if I don't cut the curb, there is a chance I go off, because of course the front is going to understeer a lot. So yeah, this is an example of how you don't want to make it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I said. Avoid the curbs, don't carry too much speed on the way in, and you should be fine for the first chicane. Then we are just by this chicane, then it's full throttle. Just take a bit of curbing on the left, but not too much, like I said, and then we will get into the second chicane. So for that one, I'm just looking at the 50 on the right side, and then once I'm alongside the 50, which is where I am basically, I'm just alongside the 50. Then I just go on the brake, and as you will see, I'm not really touching the brakes that much. It's just about slowing down a bit the car, and then gets the rotation on the way in, so about 40% braking. And then the second time I'm going to brake is when I'm out of the curbing and the car is back on the track straight. So there I can go back on the brakes to slow it down more, but then I just need to release the brake, send the car into the right hander. But yeah, as you can see, braking at the 50, so about 40%, releasing the brakes, getting the rotation. Then, as you can see, I'm just trying to be really smooth on the steering, because I don't want to um how to say that. I don't want to upset that much the car with too much rotations and stuff like that, especially because the car at that point feels quite light, and at the same time, um, well, in the chicane before, you just try to avoid as much as you can the curbs, but in this spot, which is a bit more narrow with like tighter corners, ideally you still want to take more. You still want to take the curbs. So adding the fact that the car is a bit light, you need to use the curb. You arrive with quite a lot of speed at the same time. You need to make sure you are quite smooth with the steering. So as you can see on the brakes, then once I'm arriving there, I just release everything to get a bit of rotation and make sure the car can stay to the left. And then once the car is, like I said, back on the track, and the car is sort of straight, even if it's not quite straight, but yeah, the car is back on the track and it doesn't have much rotation from there, so I can just reach the peak of the braking. As you can see, car is straight just right now, reaching the peak. Then I just need to release the brake once again. From there, I'm getting the rotation, and then once I'm going for the apex, I can go back on power. I'm just going to release a bit the power when I'm on the curbing, but then once I'm on the track, on the way out, I'm just pushing the power. So if we are doing that once again from the car, just around the 50, just going on the brake slightly, just releasing the brake when I'm on the curb, carry straight, back on the brakes, releasing quickly the brakes, back on power, lifting when I'm over the curb, and then on the way out, just pushing, just making sure I can keep the right wheels on the red and white curb, and then we are moving to the right for the Tosa hairpin, which is the next corner. So moving to the right, and then just after the exit road on the right side, I'm going to brake. So as you can see on the brakes, and then I'm going to try to keep second as much as I can, because it keeps the car stable on the first part. I could put first, but the problem is that with first, the rear is sliding because it's a bit too early, so it makes the rear spin a bit. So ideally you want to stay with second, so you keep second, you go deep into the corner, and then you can put first for the exit. So you can see it, by the way, I'm braking, and then once I'm going back on power, then I'm putting first. So yeah, ideally just keep as much as you can second on the way in, so then it keeps the car stable. Actually, I could stay all the way with second through the corner, but it's better with the lower gears for the exit. But this is the reason why you can keep second um, until you're going on power, because it keeps the car really stable. You don't really need to slow down the car more with engine brakes, so it's fine. And yeah, it gives you good stability on the exit. And then once you are on the apex and you know that you can go back on power, then you can drop to first and just make sure that you are opening the steering on the way out to avoid any chance of getting wheel spin. But yeah, that's how I'm doing that one. So as you can see on the brakes, I keep second, still with second, carries quite stable, and then once I'm on the apex, on power, you cannot really see it because of the wheel, but I'm putting first around there. And then as you can see, opening the steering on the way out, taking the curb, and then we are heading into maybe the second part of the track, pretty much. So for this one, just stay on the right, and then a few meters after getting by the 50, so now we are by the 50, and as you can see, just a few meters after the 50, I just go on the brake. As you will see, it's not a massive braking, it's just about 45% or something for like a short amount of time. And then same as usual, I just leave the brakes and the throttle to get the rotation, and then once the car is settled on the inside and on the curb or close to the curb, then I can go on power, pretty much do some sort of on off. As you can see, there is not much of a gap between the 0% and the 100, so it's pretty much on off going into um, the exit of that one. So as you can see on the curb, on the brakes, then I'm just lifting everything to get the rotation, and once I'm on the curb, I can go back on power. And as you can see, just make sure you are not going too wide on the way out, because yeah, it's really easy to get the off track. So that's why you need to be a bit patient. Actually, you could go earlier on power, but yeah, you don't have much gap on the way on the outside with the track limit. So you can get punished really quickly and really easily if you are pushing a bit too much on the way out. So just be careful about that. Just um, be patient on power, and it should be fine. So as soon as you keep the left wheels on the curb, on the normal curb, you're fine. Then we are heading into Aqua Minerale, so I'm just going to stay on the left from now, moving to the left, as you can see, and then it's going to be pretty much the same reference as what you are doing usually. Just around the 50, you are turning to the right, but this time I think you have to can carry a bit more speed, of course, because this car arrives with less speed. So in the first part, you're not going to really get on the brakes, because at first I think the car can get a bit too loose if you are touching early on the brakes. But yeah, you need to carry a lot of speed as well in the first part. Of course, if you are also braking too early, you are going to miss a lot of speed going into Aqua Minerale. So yeah, at first you are not really touching the brake that much. It's just about maybe like you want to settle a bit the car going into this part. But yeah, apart from that, you are not really touching. Um, you are not touching at all the throttle, as you can see. If we are checking at delta, it's just a tiny bit of braking on the entry just to settle a bit the car. But yeah, from there, from the I guess it's around the 50 I'm lifting. Um, just after just after getting by the 50, from the time you are really going into the corner, as you can see, I'm lifting and I'm not really going to go on throttle until I'm getting out of Aqua Minerale. So then it's just about the braking. As you can see, a bit of braking, and then the main target from there is to make sure you can bring the car as straight as you can to begin the braking. So I started to brake, and then as you can see, I'm just trying to make sure the car remains as straight as I can. So I'm just going to bring the car to the curbing because I want to open the exit of Aqua Minerale. Of course, if I'm too deep on the inside, I'm just going to tighten the corner. So ideally, I want to make sure I can get on the curb, so then I can open up the corner, and this helps me to at first minimize the rotation on the steering, but also the stress on the front tires, and this means I can have a better exit, and I don't need to slow down that much on the first part. So this is the main target when going into Aqua Minerale, is to make sure the car is as straight as possible, and you can get on the curb on the left. So as you can see, going on the curb, dropping to second, and then I just need to release the brakes to get the rotation. And once I'm on the inside, then I'm looking for the throttle to get the exit speed. And then, as you can see, you need to be a bit patient on the way out. You cannot just go straight on the throttle, because like I said before, it's really easy to pick up some understeer if you are being too aggressive on throttle with the MX-5. So the idea is to be patient, a bit patient, pretty much like the left we saw before, because it's yeah. Once you are getting into the understeer, it's really bad to release the throttle because you are going to lose time. So it's better to be a bit more patient on the way out than going full throttle. Then see that you're getting too much on the steer and then lift. That's not what you want to do, because this is a reason. This is one of the one of the things that can make you lose some time. So ideally, you prefer to maybe compromise a bit the first part of the exit, but then you can push fully the car and you don't need to lift at some point, because yeah, if you do that, you are going to lose time. So ideally, you want to be a bit more patient in the first part. So basically, this press part until you're reaching the middle of the track. You want to lift a bit, then you can make sure you not get the understeer, and then you can push fully without taking the risk of getting an off track. As soon as you keep the right wheels on the curb, you are fine. As you can see, it was on the very limit, because I'm I'm almost not touching the curb anymore with the right wheels, but it was okay. So yeah, this is pretty much what you want to do around Aqua Minerale. So if I'm showing you this from the far chest camera, taking the curb, then releasing the brakes to get the rotation on the curb, going on power, then just waiting a bit, especially in this part. Um, like I'm not going too early full power, so then I can get the rotation, and then once the car is um on the line, then I can push on power. I stay on the curb, and then I'm going to go into the Variante Alta. So this is the last chicane of the track, and not the easiest one with the big curb. So for that one, I'm just braking at the 50. So as you can see, car is just near, or pretty much a bit, yeah, it's a bit before the 50. So what I'm using, sometimes you can see, I guess you can see on the screen, you have some like it's like more, it's brighter on the track. I don't know if it's the pavement or if there is something. I don't know what's the reason or why it's brighter just right here, but this is something I'm also using as a reference instead of the 50, because it just looks like it's a bit more on the line. So instead of looking to the left or right hander, I prefer to look like to a reference which is closer to where I'm going to look just after. So I'm looking at this bright thing on the track, and basically as soon as uh, I I have the front bonnet on top of this, um, then I'm just going on the brake. So that's why sometimes I just think I'm alongside something, but I'm not really, because I'm using my vision in the front of the car. So when I see that the reference is, I cannot see the reference, basically I'm just going on the brake. But anyway, just a few meters before the 50, as you can see, I'm going to go on the brake, so it might be this one. So yeah, as you can see, it's pretty much uh, one big braking. So I'm just lifting a bit right here, but yeah, it doesn't really matter, to be fair. It's just like one braking. You don't really lift that much. You don't really release smoothly the brake really going into this one, because you are just looking to slow down the car, and then you just try to carry the momentum through that one. There is no really big need of getting the rotation actually going into this one with the MX-5. So you just release the brake, you try to slow down the car, and then you just release the brake to carry the momentum and carry the speed through the SS. So you brake just before the 50, just around 60%, not 65%. Then I just fully release the brake, and then I just try to carry the speed through the cups. So oh, of course it's not the best camera with the threes. So yeah, if I'm showing you with that one, as you can see, I just try to make sure I can keep the left wheels on the normal curb, and will be the same but with the right wheels for the second curb. So I guess as soon as you keep um, side wheels on the red and white curb in the first part and the second part, you are fine. But yeah, if you are touching the curb, the sausage curb with the four wheels, you are, I guess you are done. It might be an off track, or maybe even worse, the slowdown. So this is what you need to be careful about. I don't want to be too greedy going into this chicane. It's always the same. Sometimes you have more to lose, especially if you are in quali and stuff like that. Yeah, it can go really fast in terms of off track as well. And in quali, if you do that mistake, there is a risk of not having a good quali at all. So sometimes it's just better to use maybe all for tens, but making sure you have the lap in instead of pushing at all costs and maybe not having the lap at the end. So it's up to you. But yeah, as soon as you keep, I think as soon as you keep the left wheels in the first part on the curb and the right wheels in the second part on the curb, you should be fine. So this is what I'm doing. As you can see, releasing the brake when I'm turning in, so I get a bit of rotation at that point. But then I just try to minimize as much as I can the steering angle, because it's really easy with the curbs to upset the car with the bounce and the steering. And yeah, if you are being too aggressive on the steering, then the car can make some like bad moves, getting out or going into the curbs, and you can struggle a bit to get the spin on the way out. So you don't really want to put that much um, steering angle. Of course, you need to put a bit more, because the first part is a bit sharper. And if you take the sharpest line in the first part, then you should not have to put much steering angle on the exit. So basically, you do the most of the job in the first part, because if you do the job well in the first part, then you should have a pretty much straightforward exit. But if you arrive too quick in the first part and you are a bit too wide, then of course you will struggle on the second part. But if you make the job on the first part, making sure you take the right line, then the second part should be easier. So that's why I'm putting most of the steering angle in the first part, because I want to make sure I'm taking this corner as sharp as I can. But then once the job is done, then as you can see, I don't need to put quite the same angle. So um, really the first part is really important, because the second one, if you do the first part right, the second one should be easy. But yeah, I guess you will find that already in the practice. This part of the track, I think, is the one which is the most the hardest to get the consistency. To be fair, so just make sure you trying this one as much as you can during the practice, because this is, I think, the most trickiest part. Sometimes shooting Aqua Mineral is the most difficult, but I think this one is the most difficult. To be fair, I've also driven this one in GT4. I don't think I've driven recently this with GT3, but yeah, this is the hardest part, surely with the cups. Then on the way out, you just need to make sure you're not pushing too much and too early because it's really easy to get the car sideways. So once the car is settled, you can push full throttle, but just before that, to try to lift a bit um, until the car gets the grip. So you are not really looking to go straight away full power because this is the best way to lose time. As you can see, I'm just lifting. As you can see, the car is going to bounce a bit, but then once the car is settled, then you can go full power. And as you can see, just using the left wheels on the curbs as a limit. Then we'll get into the last two corners of the track. So it's going to be a big braking zone at first. And then it's in the second one, it's just going to be about managing the power with a bit of braking on the way in. So for this one, I'm just braking um, I guess at the 75 or the 80. Um, of course, you don't have an 80 board or a 75, but it just feels like it's just between the two, the 100 and the 50. But at the same time, it feels like it's still closer to the 100. So as you can see, I'm just getting by the 100. So the 100 is right here. So we could basically draw a line between the 100 and um, this white part of the curb, and as you can see, I'm just braking a bit after that. So I'm now braking, but yeah, the peak is like, yeah, it's like between the 100 and the 50. You can see the pole just right here. So this is the 50. So that's why I'm saying it feels like I'm braking between the two because I'm starting to brake just after the 100, but I'm reaching the peak just about the 75, which is probably just around here. So yeah, just braking after the 100, that's for sure. But you don't want to brake too late, really, for that one. Even if you can brake later, of course, because it remains the MX-5. But yeah, still, you cannot brake way too late for that one. So as you can see, just braking after the 100, and then reaching the peak around the 75. And then, as you will see, I'm just going to brake around 70%, I guess. Yeah, it's around, yeah, it's between 65 and 70%. Um yeah, we can say between 65 and 70%. So as you can see, the car is straight. So from there you can brake quite hard um um without any issues, I would say. But then, as you will see, once I will get close of the 50, then I'm going to start to release the brakes a bit. So as you can see, releasing the brakes, and then to get the rotation, I'm just going to fully release the brakes. So in the first part, braking quite hard, and then once I'm reaching the 50, I'm starting to turn to the left, and then once the car is slowed down enough and is facing the apex, then I'm just going to like release everything, get the rotation, and then once I will be out of this curb on the apex, then I can push on power, take the curb on the outside. So as you can see, I'm just leaving the left wheels on the curb as usual. This is the limit. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing into this first corner, just using the 50 as a turning in reference on the brakes, releasing the brakes, getting the rotation out of the curb on power. And yeah, as you can see, worked well. I stay on the limit, and I did carry enough speed. And then for this left one, it's this is my reference. You can see that the curb takes a different shape, sort of, because it seems like it doesn't go straight anymore. It seems like the track gets a bit wider, I would say. So this is pretty much my reference. So as soon as I'm getting close of this, I can start to turn to the left. So as you can see, getting close of this, I will turn to the left. I'm pressing a bit the braking in the first part, but it's like not that much at all. I guess I'm using more with the GT cars. But yeah, it's like 20% for a split second to just slow down a tiny bit the car, and maybe make it turn a tiny bit. But then, as you can see, I'm just trying to manage the rotation off power and on power as well. And then once I'm off the curb, then I can push the car fully. I think I could have pushed a bit more on that lap on this last corner, but I didn't want it to take much risk and having the lap deleted because Imola is known for being quite harsh on the track limits, so I didn't want it to ruin the lap. But I think I could have pushed a bit more on the way out. So yeah, I had a bit more in it in the last lap. I think it's the same as usual. I should have been closer with the left wheels on the curb, so pretty much close to the runoff. But yeah, the lap was still decent. So yeah, once again, you can see it may be better there. That the curb takes another shape, and as soon as I'm getting near that, I'm pretty much turning in when I'm on this thing, turning in, bit of braking, and then as you can see, using like getting the rotation of the throttle, and then on the way out I need to get the momentum because it's a long shot after that, so I cannot wait for too long before going on power, going on the curb, and then once I'm on the way out, as you can see, I'm leaving the curb, full power, using the curb on the outside, keeping the left wheels on the curb, and then as you can see, it's just the run to the start finish line. You can make sure you optimize as much as you can the lap by staying to the right. But yeah, crossing the start finish line, and we are done for the lap around Imola. Alright guys, so we're done for today. That was the week 9 lap guide of the Advanced MX-5 Open Series with the Mazda around Imola. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Coach Dev Academy channel and join the Discord server if you have any questions about all the work we are making. And I see you next week for the week 10. See you next time, bye bye.